why do we need to do it, reflection, goals, so what's the point of doing it. I will have a few polls, so I'll ask you a few questions and I'll ask you to vote. Not because they're right or wrong answers, but just to launch the discussion and to have a bit more interaction. And at the end of this first part to our live session, there will be a breakout room. So breakout room exercise or discussion. And then we will have a second part, which will be slightly shorter. We will also have a breakout room exercise there. We will also have a poll, one small short poll. And the second part is focused really on assignment, which is why I promised Luke to answer his question in a bit more detail in the second part. So hang on there. I hope that's okay. We will talk about the assignment in the second part. Of course, over the progress of first part, second part, doesn't matter. Please feel free to participate in the chat, ask questions or even answer questions if you know the answer to some of the questions that your colleagues have put in here. Joe is with me, so if you have any questions to Joe, then we will ask him as well. So, before we really start talking about anything reflective, about reflective assignment and so on, I would like to ask you this question. Do you know where to find the well-being Canvas pages and resources? It's always important. But particularly these days, it is, I think, absolutely crucial. So we know where to find them. So I can see over half of participants know where it is, but I'll wait. I'll wait for a bit more votes here. So of course, as you know, we're all strongly encouraging you, if you're not already, to register with the GP. Just in case you're ill, hopefully not, but if you are, when you're feeling unwell, it's easier simply to go to someone you know already, you know whom to contact and so on, rather than frantically search how to reach a GP. So please register with your GP and please be absolutely aware of what the wellbeing team offers, what support they can give you, what to do, how to communicate with them, and so on. So we have 94% of participants who have voted, so that's good, and thank you for your engagement. 50% of participants tell me that they know where to find the Canvas Wellbeing page, which is good, but there is a significant part of participants who doesn't know where to find or who is not sure where to find them, so please see the link in the chat. That's the link to the Canvas Wellbeing and Support pages for the college, and of course we are part of the College of Social Sciences, as you know from the structure, the organizational structure recording. So if you were one of those who answered not sure or no, what I'd strongly encourage you to do is to open this Canvas page somewhere for now. Leave it open maybe for the duration of the session, and maybe you can explore this later, saving your bookmarks a little bit later or at the break. So this was not as such related to the pasde module, but it's still very important. So what we're going to talk today about is a reflection, and one of you, maybe present here today, or one of the participants tomorrow, has already asked me a question about reflection on the discussion boards. So that gives me an opportunity to start my discussion, to give you a bit of context about this reflection models, reflective models, and so on, and to do some exercises with you. The question was about what's the use of the reflection process? What is it for? Is it very abstract, or is it actually does it have any practical use? So what I hope to convince you about today is that a reflective writing is useful and will increase your efficiency, your productivity, and your enjoyment, hopefully, in the long run. So to start on this reflective discussion, first of all, I wanted to ask you another question, which is about formal and informal learning. So these terms, formal and informal learning, were introduced again in one of the recordings in the materials for this week. So we know what we're talking about. And there is no really right or wrong answer here as such, because I'm asking you, what do you think? Do you think you're going to spend more time on formal learning or informal learning, or maybe about the same time? Again, I'm leaving you guys just a bit more time to answer this question. And then I will talk about the interpretation of that. The formal and informal as terms, they were discussed in the third recording, Learning and Developing the Technology. Okay, we're approaching 90% of those who have voted, maybe just a few more votes. Those who haven't expressed their opinion. It's really not about right or wrong, it's just what do you think? Okay, thank you. Excellent, thank you guys. So we have formal, informal, or about the same. About a third of participants said formal, about 25 informal, and from, well, more than anything, I can see about the same. So what does it mean? Well, pedagogical research tells me that usually when this question is asked for, in similar audience for first-year students, most students answer formal. That's not quite true today, although that's still arriving in the second position, and it's about the same that wins. However, what maybe is interesting to underline, and that's the advice again from pedagogical literature here, is to encourage students not to underestimate the importance of informal research. Why is that? Well, formal research, formal learning, pardon me. So the informal learning is not necessarily something that we think of immediately. Formal learning is easier. Formal learning gives me the structure. Formal learning is content of the module. You know that you have so many recordings, so many readings. You know that you have this assignment, that assignment. So you progress in the formal learning, in the guided formal learning. There is a seminar to attend, live session to attend, all that. So it's clear, it's structured, and it clearly contributes to passing a module or progressing from one year to the other in your degree and so on. So it's a little bit more clear, and it may look like it's more useful, more efficient, more productive. However, informal learning is also very important, particularly in the long run, but not just in the long run. So what is informal learning about? Informal learning is not within the context of a particular module. Informal learning are the peer discussions. So they can be a little bit about the module, but they're not necessarily one of the recorded materials or one of the readings. The discussions between yourselves in various chat groups and so on, maybe after the seminars, they are also part of your learning. Don't underestimate the usefulness of this informal learning. Don't underestimate maybe the time that you should give to this informal learning. So peer discussions is a very useful, practically useful aspect of informal learning. There is another one. That's what I would broadly say, really forming yourselves as well-rounded economics experts. So additional reading is probably the most obvious, the easiest example for me to give. What does it mean? Well, you might want to read more than just for a particular module, not just something that is recommended for this module, but more than that. That could be news, economic news, that could be additional books about economics, even those addressed to a larger audience, like free economics, undercover economists. I'm sure you have heard about some of those. So think about informal learning as a necessary complement to your formal learning, which allows you to expand your horizons, to be a bit more open-minded, and to form a better background picture. I think in one of the last week's materials, I was giving the example of Financial Times, mostly because our library has the subscription, so you can get that subscription. So you should be able to reach the resource via the link in the recording. But of course, many of us and many of my colleagues were very much interested in economics consequences of the current situation of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there is a whole website which is built by expert economists. Doesn't mean that you have also always to agree with them, but the perspective is interesting. So I'll put it on the discussion board as one of the additional resources that you might want to engage with. It's not directly useful for a particular module immediately, although it might be if later you decide to write an essay on this topic. So all this contributes to a background understanding rather than very narrow and relatively small snapshots that you get in the modules. So I really encourage you to engage fully with the informal learning. So about the same, maybe. It really depends on your style, on the time, on what you decide to do. You are expert economists. So it's up to you to decide what you really want to do. But my advice is not to underestimate the importance of informal learning. Later, when you have finished your studies, in any career, and I'm sure that my colleagues would agree, there is a lot of useful information that circulates in what's called water cooler conversations. In the corridors, when we get a coffee, tea, whatever, we talk about what we teach, we talk about our research, we talk about students, we talk about how we have organized breakout rooms. Did it work? It didn't work. So there is a lot of useful information in these informal discussions. Don't underestimate, if you have done before, the importance of these informal conversations. They are useful. So this allows me to progress to the main topic of this week and of today's live session, the reflection. So why we are all encouraging you to be reflective learners. And this is me answering for everyone the question on the discussion board, although of course I'll type up the answer later. What's the point? What does it mean, reflective writing? What's the use of it? Before I give my answer, although of course you know it already because you would have seen that in the recorded materials, I wanted to ask you, what does reflective mean to you, or what do you associate reflective with? Again, there couldn't be any right or wrong answers here because it's about what you associate it with now. And you can select more than one option for this particular poll. So you can select multiple options, as many associations as you wish. Again, I'm just leaving you a few more moments to vote. Again, thank you for voting, thank you for engaging, and it's still quite new for me. It's the first time this term that I'm teaching with Zoom, and then I'm using all this polling in breakout rooms. So I'm still a little bit amazed that it all works. So I'm really glad that people engage with it, because I am still not quite sure that it all works as it should. So it's always a pleasant surprise when technology works. That's why I'm so happy to see.
I attempted polling in one of my sessions last week and it didn't work.
It's always a chance that something goes wrong. Always a chance that something goes wrong. That's why it might seem like I'm, I don't know, a bit too much over it, but that's because I'm a little bit apprehensive that it's not going to work, and when it actually does, it's like, yeah, it worked. Joe, I now learned how to upload multiple polls to a Zoom session. That was my learning. So I know how to do it now in the CSV file. There we are. That was informal learning right there. Okay, so I'll probably stop it now, because again, about 90% of participants has voted, and I'll share the results so we can all see them. So first option, which was chosen, honesty. Yes, I could appreciate that. I agree. Reflection has to be honest to be useful, to be effective, to be useful, to avoid being pointless, which is the last option, which was chosen once, and that's absolutely fair enough. So that's on me to convince you that it's not pointless. If the reflection is not honest, if it's embellished, if it's not detailed, well, it's likely to be pretty much. So honesty with yourself is absolutely crucial. Honesty in general is a good value, an academic value. That's what we have to be in our research, and reporting the results in our research, we have to be honest, ethical. Again, I'm not going over the academic values discussed previous week, but here for reflective, honesty in reflection has a very practical use. It has to be centered on self. And here it's interesting that only about half of the participants voted for this option. Centered on self matters. And here probably the first really important information for today's session. Reflection has to be centered on self. It's about me. My reflection is about me, my feelings, my experience, my approach in the past, and what I can do better or differently for the future or the same. So reflection is centered on self. And it's really very different from academic writing. Academic writing is usually, unless it's a case of very specific research, is usually not centered on self. Academic writing is about evidence, about arguments, so it's about the rest of the world that we see as an observer. So academic writing has to be rigorous and objective, while reflective writing is centered on self. Therefore, it's really not maybe as objective because it's talking about ourselves, analyzing ourselves, and reflective about us. So it has to be honest, it has to be centered on self, and it shouldn't be, again, very few participants chose that option, and I appreciate that. It shouldn't always be complementary. It can be complementary, especially when it's worth it, but it has to be honest. Being always complementary is not as useful. Being complementary where we have achieved positive results is good. It allows to replicate positive results in the future. And of course, it's also confidence building. It's really good to be complementary. It's really good to be positive when we can. Being always positive might be a bit inefficient, particularly in the long run, because very often we have things that we can improve on. So if we're reflecting on the past and we're trying to improve things for the future, it's much better to be honest, again, coming back to that, much better to be honest and to be critical towards ourselves. It has to be detailed, absolutely. It has to be detailed to be useful. If we have a very broad strokes self-reflection, even if it's self-centered and even if it's honest, if it's too broad, it's likely to be relatively pointless. It might have some limited use, but the more detailed we are, the more precise we are, the more specific we are, the more useful it's going to be. So I understand that last summer was very much disrupted, so you haven't had your exams maybe as you expected them to have, but you had exams previously, you had coursework previously. So even those experiences can help you to build your basis for reflection insofar as how you can do better in university. We're already at the start of the second week, so you have engaged with the materials of the first week for all of the modules. So you can reflect already on how the university style is different from the school style. So it has to be detailed and it has to be focused. Focused, precise, specific. Now descriptive. That's a bit more of a challenging one in a sense, a bit less obvious here. Because of course, if we're doing some reflection, we need to describe the event. We need to describe the event and the feelings, the experience. So we need to talk about what has happened. So we need to describe. But it should be no more than half, probably about a third maybe, of a reflective written piece. Description is important, but that's not all what reflective writing is about. There is a second part, which is analysis. So not just what happened, but why it has happened. Again, thinking about self, thinking about details, and so on. So please think about description as just part of the reflective writing, analysis as a second big important part. And that is the third part, which is also sometimes forgotten. That's the forward-looking part, the so what, the conclusion. Something has happened, I have done very well in this exam, or I have learned this in week 1. So what? I should do the same, I shouldn't do the same. In week 1, I have engaged with only half of the materials. Why? Well, because the first week was a bit shambolic, maybe because I didn't organize my time properly, or maybe because the materials were not published on time, or because I wasn't registered for the appropriate modules. The why. And then so what? For next week, what can I do? Well, maybe I should check that I'm registered for all modules. Maybe I should revise my timetable. Maybe I should ask more questions and communicate more on the discussion board and so on. So please do feel free to think about reflective writing in 3 main parts: description, analysis, conclusion. And the conclusion is forward-looking, the so what, the lesson. So that's what I would say in terms of what reflective writing, good reflective writing looks like. You have all of the resources on a Canvas, which gives you some reflective models and additional reading. You would see that there are a couple of links to other universities. The reflective writing is used by all universities. That's relatively standard. So you can have a look at resources from other universities, would that be at undergraduate or even master's module level, because this should set you on a good path, on the good practice path for the rest. One of the questions previously, I know that there are some questions going on in the chat. I will come back to those later. One of the questions previously was that there were 3 models given or discussed in the materials for this week. Which one should I use? Well, that's precisely that. I don't prescribe the use of a particular reflective model. Choose yours. And the other student was asking me, but what if I choose the wrong one? You can't really choose the wrong one. What can happen is that you chose one and you have found that this is not the best. Well, that's the learning process. Next time, you'll choose a different reflective model and you'll do better. So it's really about trying out different things, about experimenting, just as we have said last week. So that's at least in part or in great part what reflective learning is about and reflective writing is about. So reflective writing, describe, analyze, conclude the so what. Think about using one of the reflective models, one of the 3 that I have described in the recording or any other model, feel free to experiment and to choose from a broader set of available models. And it's also about goal setting. So the idea is that when you're thinking about the so what, this should help you to set the goals in the future. So I saw that there were a few questions, so just let me look at the chat and pick up those. I think Joe answered a few, and there was another one. Right, so one question was about the cover sheet. So I'll talk a little bit more about the assignment and the cover sheet in the second part, if there will be any questions. But more specifically, there is a recording on the cover sheet, how to fill it in. So for anyone who's not quite certain on what to put on the cover sheet, please check the recording and it should guide you through the process. If you have any questions after that, please do let me know. But there are also some additional questions in the discussion board, so you might want to check those. And the cover sheet is uploaded now in several different places. So again, just please check that. Now, as asking a very fair point, what work content are we required to complete this week? So just like, I think that's the same, more or less the same for all other modules, we have weekly sections in our week by week Canvas page. There are sections which are attached to each week. So we are in week 2. So the topic is reflective and independent learning. So what I expect you to finish doing by this week is to watch all of the recordings. Ideally, you watch the recordings on reflective writing before you submit your assignment. The assignment is due this Thursday. It is a reflective piece, so it would make more sense to watch everything about reflection before you submit the assignment. And of course, there is a resource list. So I understand that you might not want to read absolutely everything that is there, but I would encourage you to at least click on different links just to be aware what's there. One of the things that you will find particularly useful in terms of the resource list is the link on the short guide to reflective writing. The UOB's short guide on reflective writing. And you might want to compare and contrast it with Writing for University. So if you prioritize anything before Thursday, the short guide to reflective writing, that's what I would prioritize. There is the library subject page for economics, academic skills gateway, and all that, which is more useful to engage before you submit the assignment. Cameron, thank you for audio quality. Guys, can you hear me? The first session told me that it was fine. Joe, can you hear me okay? Right. Cameron, I'm sorry. It looks like it's more on your end. Yeah, sorry about that. It probably differs from people to people. So last session, I know that some people, and Joe, told me that it wasn't great, so I changed my mic, but that's about what I can do.
I have a question. Is mine echoey as well, or is it just Camelia's?
I think you're echoey. At least you're echoey for me.
No, Camelia, this is definitely a you problem. Look, everybody's happy apart from you.
Always the way. Well, then it's just a problem of my office. Also, it might be because I'm talking more.
Maybe, yeah. This doesn't, just because my mic's working doesn't mean I'm going to take over the session. I'm listening.
I was just going to suggest that. Joe, do you want to take over the session? Yeah, I think you're voted by everyone in the chat. I can't use the headphones, I'm sorry. They're very heavy on my ears. I can't use the headphones. I've tried and I've changed mic and I can change another one, but yeah. Okay, so some people can hear, some can't. I can experiment again with the mics. I really don't know what else to suggest. I'll have a think, guys. But in any case, and this gives me an opportunity to say it, For each week that I'm doing, I'll upload a short summary of the live session. So this short summary of the first session is already there on the discussion page. So you can have a look. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. So sound quality, I'm afraid, is going to be a problem for various people at various points in time. We can do what we can in terms of experimenting, but also please check that on your end it's as optimal as it can be. So I'm just scrolling through the chat to see if there are any questions that I missed. Okay, that was the last question. If I have missed any of your questions, please do just copy paste it at the bottom and I'll pick it up. Can I write about advantages of each module? I don't think it's the best way of addressing the problem. Please remember that it's not about writing as much as possible. It's about describing something, analyzing it, and drawing lessons from that. So it's, I wouldn't say that each module should be described. Maybe pick one, the one that you're interested in, and then you write about that. Okay, thank you. So there was a question about name, and this is a question that occurs, or has occurred already several times. So normally, your name shouldn't be stated anywhere in the assignment. There was a very good question in the previous session. Why is that? Well, because we mark anonymously. So right now, I can see that some people clearly don't like my voice and prefer Joe. Does it mean that I should downmark them? Of course not. And so to avoid any conflict of interest, any unconscious bias on my part, the only thing that I will see is the ID number. So this particular assignment does contribute towards the grade, towards the pasde grade. So pasde A counts for 10 credits. And this first assignment counts for 10% of those 10 credits. So it's a pass or fail. So either you're getting this 10% or not. So we have normally just the ID on the cover sheet and nowhere else, really. We don't have the name, no conflict of interest, no biases, nothing like that. But this particular assignment, because you are introducing yourself, you can, if you want to, include your name, your country, anything that you think is relevant for the analysis and drawing conclusions. Also, if you prefer, and maybe just to set on the good path, good practice path, you can avoid mentioning your name. So in the example that I have uploaded on Canvas, you can see that I'm introducing myself as lecturer of the Department of Economics. So to remain as anonymous as possible, you could introduce yourselves as I'm first year student, first year economics student, first year undergraduate student, anything like that, that might preserve your anonymity. And of course, how it's relevant to your discussion, to your subsequent discussion. So Joe, what I can see is that guys are buying you a drink. That's decided, that's there. So probably you are marking most of the assignments. That's fine. But were there any other questions that I missed? So, no, yeah, thank you. Sorry, just that it hurts my ears. That's why I'm not with the headset. I'll try next time, okay? I'll try next time. So, have there been any other questions that I missed? I'm just scrolling up and down, but I can't see anything. Yes, it's okay if you speak about your course, but you don't mention the name, absolutely. And thank you, Cameron. Good interaction. So, aside of the drinks, I just can't say anything else. Again, if I missed anything, please do pop it in the chat. So I hope that we have talked about reflective assignments efficiently, and I hope that I have convinced you that it's useful. If anything, if you're just being very, very pragmatic, why do you need to do this? Because you have 2 reflective assignments for pasde, because you might have some reflective assignments for the future, because you might be asked in your future career to write something reflective, for example, to set your development goals, objectives for yourselves, for the team, can be asked. Ideally, these goals are SMART, specific, measurable, time-bound, and so on. So you are likely to encounter the self-reflection or reflection in some shape or form. Also, reflection is what you're going to do for the personal tutoring meetings. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will call it reflection. Some people might refer to it as just thinking, or thinking back, or considering, or analysis. So terminology might vary, but the idea is that we're thinking about what has happened, analyzing it, evaluating it, and drawing some lessons. When do we find if you passed or failed? So we have 15 days from the date of submission. Of course, we will try to be as quick as possible. Second assignment is going to be soon. Well, it's going to be relatively soon. You have the due dates on Canvas, but let's finish with the first one, and then we're going to progress to the second. Okay. Yes, it's better, again, it's better to write the first assignment after watching at least the recordings on reflection from the second week. If you really want to optimize your time, it's the last 3 recordings that are the most crucial for your first assignment. Reflection, independent learning, setting goals, and reflective models. Yes, you have to upload the cover sheet and the assignment as one PDF. Absolutely. Excellent question, Taran. Yeah, do you want to come in? Referencing skill will be discussed next week in pasde. Absolutely. Are there any seminars for this module? There will be from next week, from week 3. Just as stated in syllabus, seminars begin in week 3. You will have not the score for the first 2 assignments. It's either pass or fail, or you'll see on Canvas complete or incomplete. The dates of the assignment are stated on the assignment Canvas page. Interesting question, Alex. In a way, for example, for principles, yes, you should give it more weight than pasde. Principles are 20 credits and pasde is 10 credits. So you should give twice more time to principles relatively to pasde. So that's why last time when we were discussing credits, that was useful information. Joe, I'm leaving you to answer your fan about the seminars, the last one, and I'm just, again, scrolling up and down.
The seminars, so there's a team attached to the module, which is me, Camelia, our colleague Thomas, and our other colleague Sharon. So the first couple of seminars are going to be Thomas. I think the third seminar will be me and Camelia, and the fourth seminar will be Sharon. So it's a mix of people, basically.
Thank you. That allowed me to look at the chat. And generally, this module, as I was saying last week, is a patchwork. So you'll meet a lot of different colleagues. So the first 2 weeks I was talking. Next week, you will meet different colleagues. The week after, again, a different colleague, and so on. So it's a patchwork. So you'll see, you'll have the opportunity to meet a bit more people from the department, which is also the idea. So hopefully that's helpful.
I might sit in all the sessions drinking Pepsi.
Is it just Pepsi, Joe?
Or coffee.
I think you need to sign up for the seminars. So there are sign-up groups on Canvas as per the communication from our UGT. And yes, you'll have the face-to-face seminars, at least that's what's planned. Safia, I hope you're making notes in a way, because taking notes is one of the learning processes, but people learn differently, so I can't firmly advise one way or the other. Some people will think that it's better to record, to have things online like they are already, the recordings, and that's enough, and you don't need to take notes. That's one learning approach. I think it's useful to take notes because when you're writing, you are remembering, but that's a learning choice. Some citations in the first assignment. So you can use, not citations, I wouldn't use citations. You can use referencing. You can reference the reflective models, but in the first assignment and in the first assignment only, I think we're not really expecting any referencing. And it's quite logical because the reflective assignment is just about you. The referencing topic is introduced in week 3, and once it's introduced, for the rest of the module and of your learning, we will expect, of course, referencing. The same scheduled Zoom sessions, yes, to the best of my knowledge, unless something changes. We have 2 sessions on, well, we have, you pasde module leaders have 2 sessions on Monday and 1 on Tuesday afternoon, and you're joining one of the 3 sessions.
Regarding which small group seminar to attend, yes, somebody's mentioned on People, on Canvas, you can access the different seminar groups and choose to join one. So this mechanism was set up on Friday and it's not quite perfect at the moment, but I think that is the way we will be asking people to join seminars, isn't it, Camelia?
Absolutely. Seminars should be about an hour. Well, it's timetabled for an hour, but it's really 45, 50 minutes.
It'll be 45 minutes because we have to disinfect the room with, you know, COVID measures and so on.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed anything again. Eliana, I'm sorry about the head. Kenan, Yao, and Dr. Yao and other colleagues will talk about referencing next week. Again, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up because I've had a feeling I missed the question. How do I choose, yes, what to sign up for? Well, the idea is that you're signing up for different seminars so that they don't clash. So what I would encourage you to do, again, back to the first week organization stuff, create your own timetable and sign up to the seminars in such a way that they don't clash and they don't clash with the live sessions. That's the idea. The face-to-face meetings, thank you, Joe. The face-to-face meetings, there should be 1 per module. So there is not that much, in a way, choice. You have to sign up for 1 seminar for maths, for principles, CAC. Are there any other modules? No, that's it, right? So seminars are scheduled for 1 hour, but they are really 45, 50 minutes, somewhere there. Okay, so I think the questions start to repeat themselves. So what I'm going to do is to send you all to the breakout rooms and to type up the answers while you guys are in the breakout room. In the seminar, in the breakout room, that's the perils of looking at both chat and trying to follow the line that I'm trying to follow. In the breakout room, please discuss what reflective means for you and how you're going to use this reflective thinking in terms of improving your learning and in terms of setting your goals. Okay, so I will organize the breakout room now. Let's hope it works. I'm not sure when it works or not. And we will start, we'll continue our discussion at exactly 10 here back in the main room. And the breakout rooms should be open now. Okay, so what are the questions that we're missing, Joe?
I think we got them pretty much.
We got them,
but
right?
If we type answers now while they're in the breakout rooms, do they see them when they come back, or
they'll see them when they come back if they don't disconnect yet.
Okay.
That's what I've tried with previous one. At least your bronchial back.
I quite enjoyed attending these sessions where you don't have the pressure of, like, it's much worse for you because you're the main presenter.
I'm really sorry about the sound, but what do you want me to do? I tried with headphones. Yeah, I'm sorry. It absolutely kills my ears. I don't know if you tried staying with them for like an hour and a half. It's just quite unpleasant.
Why don't you try doing it from home?
I thought that the connection was better here. That's the whole idea.
Okay.
not good. So I really don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think the camera is the new camera. They are not like the quality is a bit shaky because I compare the one we got a couple of weeks ago and the one we have at home, and the picture, the quality of the picture very much different. So right now I do more recording. If I want to show my face, I do more recording at home to show you my face. If I do recording only with the slides and PowerPoint, then I do it in the office.
I can buy another mic. That's the only thing I can think of because I don't know how university will provide us with more. Okay, most participants are back in the room. We had a...
Hello.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm afraid I'm asking participants to be muted because there are a lot of us, and then the sound quality will deteriorate even further. Given that it's already not great, let's not make it worse. So, those who have asked questions in the chat, hopefully you'll find the answers. Please check it out. Okay, and let's talk about the assignment. So, before we talk about the assignment, I'm asking you this question. Have you already started writing and/or planning your assignment? And I know that a few people have submitted theirs already. Okay, just a few more. And I'll not be sharing the results of this one. I'll just give a broad comment. Okay, over 90% have voted, so I'm leaving it open, but I'm starting to comment. So there's a quarter of people here who have already submitted their assignment. It's amazing, excellent. So that's done. However, and this information might be useful for you for this module, but also for other modules and for the rest of your studies, as long as the rules don't change. You can submit the assignment up until the deadline as many times as you want. So you can resubmit your assignment if you think that today's discussion was helpful, or if you're watching the recordings, or if you're looking at the learning materials and so on, and you find different inspiration, a different approach. So you can absolutely resubmit your assignment. As long as it's before the deadline, we will mark just the last version. To anticipate a potential question, I can say that you need to alter the day and time of submission on the cover sheet. And we should be automatically seeing just the last version, but to avoid any doubts in case of something going wrong, the cover sheet will tell us which is the last version. So you can submit several iterations. So for those of you who haven't started writing or planning, I would strongly encourage you to do so, to start thinking about it, well, after today's session, definitely. Those of you who started just a little, that's in a way fair enough. Again, strongly recommending to watch the 3 last recordings on reflection, engaging with the short guide to reflective writing, and considering the discussion today, and there should be hopefully a helpful discussion in the breakout rooms. Those of you who started writing, planning your assignment, I think you're on the right track. You're more or less where I would expect students to be at this stage, not having submitted yet, but already in good progress. So just to reiterate, guys, please make sure that you're muted. There are 135 of us on this call. If we're not muted, then it might create a bit of chaos. So I can see that there are a few questions. Do you write our assignment in the same document as cover sheet? Yes, absolutely. Again, I refer you to the demonstration recording in the materials of week 1. You have to submit one PDF document, one and only one. So you're including the text of your assignment in the same file as the cover sheet, or the other way around, but there should be just one file. Now that you have been assigned 2 personal tutors, you can write the name of your personal tutor. If you have already previously submitted and it's my name or Joe's name, you can leave it as is. For the first assignment, really doesn't matter that much for now. So it's up to you. And the last question for now in the chat is yes, absolutely, you should fill in the blanks in the cover sheet as much as you can. The cover sheet asks for the previous feedback and so on. So you might not want to write all of the three bullet points, but try to fill in as much as you can. Okay, there's someone in need of help. So what you can do is you can email me and we can schedule a separate meeting. And hopefully I'll try to help. No, marks are not taken away if you don't complete the bullet points. But again, I would really encourage you not just to think in terms of marks. The bullet points are there to help and to guide. Joe.
Can I say something about the cover sheet? The cover sheet is for you guys. So the idea with the cover sheet is you can put points on there that you're trying to work on, things that you've tried to improve, etc., etc. So if you don't do the cover sheet, it's just you that's missing out, basically. No, we don't mind if you don't do it. It's just something that can benefit you. And in answer to the question about office hours, my office hours are Wednesday and Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. till 10:30.
Fair enough. My office hours, you need to sign to a doodle poll, and you have the link to that in the, if you go on the home page where my email is, the name, email, and then there is a link to office hours. It's there. So that answered the question about the office hours. I'm choosing to ignore the comment about the sound quality. That's why we are marking anonymously. Joe, can you answer that last one?
Yes. So the question is, I wonder how I can find and talk with my personal tutor. You should all be aware now of who your personal tutors are, right? So this information should have gone out to you. And personal tutors should be contacting all their students this week to arrange the weekly sessions, which are going to start from next week. So you should be getting an email from your personal tutor in the next few days.
Okay, there is a
But I need help. I don't understand where this is even coming from. What I mean.
Again, Mohsen, I'm inviting you to contact me separately, okay?
How do I do that?
You can email me. Very welcome to email me and we'll sort it out.
Email. I don't have that.
So my email is on top of, well, somewhere on the home page. And of course, it's for all of our names and emails, this is linked, so you can absolutely use them. Okay, any other questions? No, I am sorry. I need to mute all of the participants. Okay. Thank you, Joe. That's my email, absolutely. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Jasmine. What are the criteria for the assignment? Addressing the question and being reflective. Being reflective, for example, not being too descriptive. So it's not about the exact topics. It's about your approach. What matters for me, for Joe, is not which topic you're talking about. behavioral economics, your career, anything. It's much more about your approach and your style of writing. Joe, do you want to add anything to that?
Sorry, I've just removed Mohsin from the Zoom because he was irritating me. What was the question?
The question was about what are the criteria for the assignment. We're both marking it. I'm saying it's not about the topics, it's about the style and the approach. And being
yeah.
in depth.
I don't have anything strong to add to this.
Cool. And thank you. Also, everyone, you know that you have a code of conduct, so please respect our code of conduct, otherwise the misconduct guys will come.